Now to the governor's stay-at-home order. It is in effect until May 31st, but starting tomorrow, we will see a lifting of some restrictions. Not a lot, but some. King 5's Natalie Swaby walks us through phase one of getting Washingtonians back to work and play.
Phase one, places like golf courses could begin operations again with a social distancing plan in place. For example, golf courses are only going to allow 2 players per group unless you're all from the same household. It's just one of many businesses that will need to implement some new rules.
As we turn the corner into the nice warm days of spring and summer, there's a lot of pent-up demand for people to get out on the water.
In recent weeks, there has been pressure in the form of protest. Today, the governor's office released this, Safe Start Washington, a phased approach to recovery. And phase one, which begins Tuesday, does allow for outdoor recreation with restrictions for golfing, hunting, hiking, fishing, and boating. George Harris is president and CEO of the Northwest Marine Trade Association.
There are some guidelines that I expect boaters and anglers to be very mindful of. And that is social distancing is very, very important.
I think this phased approach is smart and prudent. I would like to see more detail around how we can get restaurants open sooner.
John Scholes, president and CEO of Downtown Seattle Association, says based on regional data, an estimated 57,000 jobs have been lost downtown since March 1st. And he's hearing from business owners anxious to reopen.
Can we get very clear guidelines and be very specific about the requirements around PPE and around distancing in locations that ensures a safe and healthy environment for workers and customers and allows some of this commerce to continue.
Today, a list of requirements for employers was released. As for businesses, existing construction that meets the state's criteria, landscaping, auto dealerships, retail stores with curbside pickup only, car washes, and pet walkers are all a part of phase one. During an afternoon teleconference, the state made it clear that reopening is a process.
Landscaping, auto sales, retail, those others that are listed, we're working on that guidance, hope to have it published soon, and they'll have to wait to open until we get that published.
In phase two, businesses like hair salons and restaurants could possibly reopen with restrictions. State leaders today said phase two could begin June 1st. In Seattle, Natalie Swaby, King 5 News.
Natalie, thank you. So tomorrow, 100 parks will reopen across the state and just in time for some pretty nice weather. But before you head outside, the State Parks Department does want you to do 4 things. Stay close to home. Check the status of the park that you want to go to. Bring your own hand washing supplies because bathrooms probably will not be open. And follow the state park guidelines, which include staying home if you're sick and avoiding crowded areas.
Tonight's stay-at-home restrictions have been eased in more than 30 states, but there are increased worries as people leave their homes. We already saw it over the weekend. With nice weather, people are just packing parks and beaches. There are signs reminding people to stay 6 feet away from one another, and some even drew lines in the sand to keep others at a distance. The World Health Organization issued a warning today as restrictions are eased.
Several countries are now starting to ease so-called lockdown and stay-at-home orders. But our common commitment to basic measures such as cleaning hands and physical distancing cannot be relaxed.
Businesses are facing quite a challenge to balance making money with following new rules for social distancing, sanitizing, and other safety measures. Meantime, California became the first state to borrow money from the federal government so it can continue to pay unemployment benefits. That state can borrow up to $10 billion from the U.S. Treasury, but so far it has needed $348 million.
Well, don't let COVID-19 stop you from going to the doctor. So we know of at least one woman who broke her leg, something, of course, unpleasant and normally pretty treatable. But the woman was too afraid to see her doctor, and because she waited too long, there were major complications. Her leg had to be amputated. Olympia Bureau Chief Drew Mickelson has new information tonight about who is and isn't going to the doctor. Drew.
Yeah, Joyce, quite the cautionary tale for folks tonight. We've been speaking with doctors who are afraid that some folks are just taking this stay-at-home policy and order too seriously. We're live tonight at Providence St. Peter Hospital in Olympia, and we looked at the number of ER visits they've had this spring compared to 2019. And in March, they saw a 17% drop. And visits declined by 1/3 in April compared to 2019. That's concerning doctors across the state who say hospitals are safe and able to help.
It's not about blame, and it's not about what I should have done.
No one at the Grays Harbor Community Hospital blames the patient who, over fears of catching COVID-19, likely did not seek medical aid after breaking their leg.
By the time that person presented, unfortunately, there was enough damage with circulation, infection, that person lost their limb.
Dr. Anne Marie Wong says Grays Harbor's medical staff is not overwhelmed with coronavirus patients, and they have the proper personal protective equipment to handle those with the virus and those without. Should people feel safe still going to a hospital for help?
Absolutely. I understand the fear. However, people need to realize that all of healthcare has ramped up to be aware of detection and protection from the virus.
This one is a very severe pain. It made me cry, and I'm not one to cry too easy.
A different patient, great-grandmother Yvette Corner, tried getting knee replacement surgery back in March, but it was considered elective and therefore delayed indefinitely to preserve hospital space and supplies for potential COVID-19 patients. The 87-year-old lived by herself, but last month the pain got so intense she had to be moved into the Pacific Care Center, a nursing home in Hoquiam. Her family can now only visit from outside her window, but Yvette's surgery has been rescheduled for Thursday.
And then I'll be on my way to be a good, strong lady again, and I will be able to be independent and do what I want to do.
Good luck, Yvette. Her son tells us that his mom can't wait for the surgery because she's been wanting to get it done before she gets old. Live in Olympia, Drew Mickelson, King 5 News.
Thank you, Drew. So we learned this afternoon that 3 nursing homes in Western Washington will open special coronavirus recovery wings. There will be a total of 135 beds at Avamere Transitional Care of Puget Sound in Tacoma, Richmond Beach Rehab and Shoreline, and Avamere Bellingham Healthcare Rehab Services in Bellingham. These special areas will have their own entrances and staff, all to limit the spread of the virus inside the nursing homes.
You know, we talk a lot these days about what's essential. For example, going to the grocery store is essential. Getting your hair cut is not. Neither is going to the gym, at least that's what the governor says. But one local gym owner tells King 5's Kristen Ayers tonight he is flexing what he calls his right to open.
Puyallup's Northwest Fitness Company is quiet now, but come tomorrow, its owners say members will be welcome inside on their equipment for a protest they call Exercise Your Rights.
We just feel like we have the right, just like anybody else does, to stay in business.
Despite the fact that Governor Jay Inslee's phased reopening plan delays opening gyms for at least several weeks.
We don't feel like we're defying his order. We feel like it's within our legal rights to protest, and so that's all we're doing. And we're just inviting our members to do that with us.
On Northwest Fitness Company's Facebook page, the protest has become a flashpoint. One customer posted, "I support this 110%. It's about time." Another wrote, "This is the dumbest, most selfish, dangerous thing you could possibly do."
They have their opinion. We have ours.
Another person who has an opinion, George McGuire, owner of Create Fitness, a small personal training gym in Kent.
Everybody's frustrated. This is a tough situation. I don't necessarily believe that that's the correct way to go about things.
Instead of inviting customers back, he's lobbying the governor to allow small operations like his to open earlier with strict social distancing mandates.
When we first open, we will allow no more than 6 people in the facility at a time. We will have, each person will come in and will have their own area. They'll have their own set of equipment.
He says staff would wear masks and gloves and give the gym a deep clean every 2 hours. Online, he's garnered more than 1,500 signatures on his Change.org petition. But Northwest Fitness Company isn't waiting for the governor. Their message to him:
open back up.
Kristen Ayers, King 5 News.
So starting this week, Seattle will close 11 miles of city streets. These street signs started popping up in neighborhoods across the city. The program, called Stay Healthy Streets, will be expanded to 4 more neighborhoods this week, including Lake City, Licton Springs, Ballard, Delridge, Highland Park. The closed streets will give everyone just a little bit more room to walk around without having to worry about cars.
Well, have you seen one of these hornets? They pose a serious threat to honeybees in our state. Ahead, the state's plan to fight these invasive pests. And next, choosing a college. It's one of the most important decisions a high school senior can make. But the pandemic is complicating the process. And what can you do if you don't have the money to pay your mortgage this month? Michelle Lee has some tips ahead.